James Romero versus Bernard Carter, County Prosecutor, 45301, 1306 MI 95.
Your Honor.
You ready to proceed?
Ready to proceed?
You take the stand.
Yeah, go on.
Did I get the name right? Joanne Romero, I said James.
Correct.
And you want to raise your right hand? You solemnly swear affirm tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge? Please be seated.
Would you please state your name?
Joanne Romero.
And did we file a petition in this court asking the court to grant you a restricted hardship license?
Yes.
Had you previously received a notice from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles that your license was suspended for 90 days?
Yes.
And that was in 07, and that suspension actually ended, correct?
Correct.
But thereafter, because the insurance company that was involved in the accident that insured the other driver sued you, a money judgment was granted, and you now have a suspension on your license till April 10 of 2017 due to a money judgment.
Correct.
But it all stemmed from the initial suspension when you didn't have auto insurance, correct?
Yes.
Why did you not have auto insurance?
It was a financial mistake on my end.
Was it inadvertent?
Yes.
Do you always have insurance?
Yes.
If the court were to grant you a hardship license today, would you immediately obtain insurance?
Yes.
Is your only means of support your employment, and would it work an undue hardship and burden on you if you continue to not have a license?
Yes.
Are you 44 years old, and do you live at 7430 Alcott Avenue, Lake County, Indiana?
Yes.
And you've never been previously convicted of a drunk driving, correct?
Correct.
You work at ArcelorMittal in Burns Harbor, Indiana.
Correct.
You've indicated your hours of employment there. You also work at Myers grocery store.
Yes.
During the summer months, you need to drop off your son at daycare, and we've listed that in the petition, correct?
Correct.
And you also have parenting time with another son, and we've listed all of that in the petition as far as what your route would have to be.
Yes.
And you'd also like to be able to go to church at Our Lady of Grace in Highland, and we've listed the times that you'd like to do that.
Yes.
And all of the various routes to Myers and back and forth home and so forth, they're all listed in the petition, and you're asking that the judge allow you to have these routes to go to and from to work and parenting time and to church.
Correct. Yes.
Your suspension was not based on an accident that happened because of your work or employment, correct?
Correct.
And you've not been required to participate in any rehab program certified by the Department of Mental Health.
Correct.
And the reason, the nature of your hardship is because of all these places you work and daycare and church and so forth, you have no ability to rely on public transportation that isn't always available.
Correct.
So you're asking for a restricted hardship license. Further, is it correct that, and I know I've talked to the prosecutor about this, that you have a Chapter 13 bankruptcy plan on file, correct?
Yes.
You've not received a discharge yet on your obligation to pay this money judgment, correct?
Correct.
But that's only because we had to file a Chapter 13 and not a Chapter 7, which you would have received a discharge years ago.
Yes.
Your discharge in your Chapter 13 won't be until the plan is over, but yet you've got a confirmed, approved plan, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, the creditor never objected to your plan.
Correct.
And they're getting nothing by way of your plan. And they didn't voice an objection, correct?
Correct.
And they also filed a claim.
Yes.
And you're asking the court to consider granting you this hardship license.
Yes.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ms. Romero, you stated that you didn't have insurance because of a financial, an inadvertent financial decision?
Yes, a mistake.
What did you mean by that?
I failed to make a payment.
But you had insurance?
Yes, I've always had insurance on my car as well as my home. Yes.
And have you ever been suspended for any other reason?
No, ma'am.
And you've never had any operating while intoxicated offenses,
No.
is that correct? I have no further questions, Your Honor.
In fact, the only moving violation on your record is a speeding ticket from 1987 in Illinois. Is that correct?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Anything else? You may step down, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any arguments? Anything?
Your Honor, it's the state's position that Ms. Romero does not qualify since she is suspended for that failure to maintain insurance and failure to satisfy a judgment.
Your Honor, the statute indicates that if you receive the initial 90-day suspension and it was inadvertent, it appears that you qualify. Now, granted, it doesn't indicate anything about money judgment in the statute, but it would seem clear that the intent is there, because after all, if you have an accident and you didn't have insurance, the next thing you're going to be sued on it. And it would be ironic if she didn't qualify, because had she been poor and been able to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy instead of a 13, she would have gotten her license back without even having to file this petition. So we're asking that the court grant it.
Failure to satisfy a judgment after an accident is its own separate ineligibility standard under 925. There's failure to file proof of financial responsibility, which would be her initial suspension, and then the next subsection is failure to satisfy a judgment after an accident as required under that statute. So I would argue that they're two separate prongs of this issue.
The only thing I can indicate, Your Honor, in all equity, it would seem that she has a plan confirmed that doesn't require her to pay these people anything. The creditor didn't object, and I don't think the prosecutor denies that.
If the creditor would have made a claim and objected, and they were part of the plan, how would that affect it?
Well, the only way they could have objected and said that we're not getting enough money under the plan, we should be getting more money, and the plan calls for them to get zero. And the reason she filed a Chapter 13 plan is because her income was too high to qualify for a Chapter 7. Had she filed a 7, she would have gotten her discharge maybe 90 days after filing, and when you send a discharge downstate, even without filing a hardship petition, you get your license back.
I mean, this creditor wasn't part of the plan?
They are part of the plan. They got notice. They did not object.
And in the plan, they were get zero?
Correct.
And they didn't object to it?
They did not.
Of course, going to grant the petition.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You have an order?
I do not. I'll submit something.
Submit an order with a proof of insurance.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Gregory Esquivel, Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45 CO1, 1303 MI 39. Mr. Esquivel is over here on that? Okay. William Halleck, who's Commissioner of Motor Vehicles. This one here continues to 45 CO1, 1307 MI 109.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. We're at the seat on this.
Yes, we are.
Mr. Halleck, you want to take a stand? Raise your right hand, be sworn. You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, best of your knowledge. See?
State your name, please, sir. William Scott Halleck. And where do you reside? 2502 Pebble Beach Drive in Valparaiso, Indiana. And you were charged here in Lake County with OWI, correct? Correct. And as a result of that, you received a notice of suspension from the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles? Correct. You've been suspended since June 10, 2013? Yes, I have. And subsequently, you entered a plea for OWI on July 29, right? Correct. As a result of that plea, you are suspended for 6 months.
Yes.
You're asking the court for a restricted hardship license today.
Yes.
You're married,
Yes, I am 26 years.
and your wife's here in the courtroom today. Your wife's name is Cindy,
Cynthia.
and she's stricken with an illness.
She was diagnosed with breast cancer about 2 years ago, aggressive stage 3. She did 6 months of chemo, probably 4 surgeries, and I think 6 months of radiation, and she's still recovering.
As a result of that, she's not able to work.
Correct. She has driven the last 2 months 2 appointments, but she can't drive more than a half hour, so that really limits what we can do.
So you're the sole provider for your wife and your 2 children?
Yes, I am.
How old are your kids?
18 and 20.
Are they going to college?
My daughter is starting at Purdue next week, and my son is at Purdue North Central.
So you're the sole provider for your wife, your 2 kids, you're paying for college, and what do you do for a living?
Sales.
What kind of sales?
I sell healthcare equipment to nursing homes mostly, but some hospitals.
And how do you go about doing that?
I sell equipment. You have to telemarket, demonstrate the equipment, take care of the customer. I travel. My territory is Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and you need to visit the customer several times during the sale in order to get the sales. So, I average about 40,000 miles a year driving.
Do you have any employees?
No, I do not.
So you're the sole person for your entire company?
Yeah, so
You make the cold calls and then you have to go visit the customer?
And I have to service it, I have to be the accountant, I am the secretary, I am the maintenance man.
And you travel in the states of Indiana, Illinois?
Indiana, Illinois, Michigan is my territory, and we're asking to be able to drive in Ohio and Nebraska also, because the manufacturers I'm a distributor for are located in Nebraska, and they have a national sales meeting in September that I wouldn't be able to fly to because I can't rent a car. So I need to drive through Iowa to get to Nebraska to get to the meeting.
You meant Iowa, not Ohio.
What did I say? I said Iowa.
Indiana, Illinois,
Indiana,
Ohio.
Illinois, and Michigan are my territory. I don't go to Ohio. But to get to Nebraska, I would have to drive through Iowa.
Right. And you're asking the court for a restricted license, driving 24 hours a day in those states?
Correct.
Now, do you also sell in the UP in Michigan?
Well, yes, I may have to drive through Wisconsin.
You can go the other way if you have to.
Yeah, okay.
Open bridge. Now, do you have to get up really early?
Sometimes
Is that
it's
why you're asking for the 24 hours?
correct. I mean, between 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock, I doubt I would ever be driving, but I have had to be at hospitals at 6 in the morning before to train people on equipment.
You have been suspended one prior time, right?
Yes.
As you understand the statute, it now, as of July 1st, allows one other suspension, right?
Yes.
And that was back in 06.
Yes.
You haven't been convicted of any felony or ever charged with any felony with regard to anything, right?
No.
And this particular suspension wasn't in connection with work as a salesman, right?
Correct.
And as a result of the plea that you entered, you're enrolled in or about to undertake an alcohol and drug program?
Yes, I'm waiting to see if how far away I can schedule it before I call them up to find out where I need to go. It'll be 10 p.m. and my wife driving.
Okay.
Or if I'm driving.
And you're asking the court to grant your petition?
Correct.
State. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Halleck, you indicated that there was a previous OWI offense in Porter County, is that right?
Yes.
And that was in 2006? What was the outcome of that? Was that a plea bargain, or did you go to trial?
That was, yes, it was a plea because I couldn't, at that time, if we would have argued it, I wouldn't have been able to drive again for 6, and I can't afford to do that.
Did you plead guilty to an OWI?
Yes.
Okay. Was there an accident involved in
No,
that?
no, never.
And there was no accident involved then in the present?
No.
And you indicated that you're not currently enrolled in any sort of treatment program, is that right?
I just,
Not yet.
correct. I did make a phone call to the one in Valparaiso, but they're not on the list for,
I understand. Do you currently have car insurance?
yes,
And who's it with?
State Farm.
How are you getting around now?
The last 2 months, my wife has been driving me to and from appointments, and I haven't been scheduling appointments the last month because she can't drive.
And your license is just a regular operator's license, is that correct? It's not a commercial driver's
Correct.
license? I have no further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Couple more follow-up, if I could, Judge. Your wife's condition, does that allow her to drive long distances?
Now, she gets very tired after 20, 30 minutes. So, no.
So on these extended trips, you have to go in these other states, is your wife able to drive you?
No, in the last 2 months, I have had to walk away from a couple nice size orders, but I couldn't get there.
Now, in your business, you sell hospital equipment to nursing homes and hospitals, right?
Mostly nursing home, 95% nursing homes, some hospitals.
And that caused you to actually go to the physical
Several
office.
times, yes.
And one thing that we didn't talk about was you have an autistic son.
Correct.
Does your wife stay home and take care of the autistic son as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any recross?
No recross, Your Honor.
You may step down, sir, thank you.
Judge, we asked the court to grant the petition. I believe the new statute as of July 1st allows for one prior suspension, and he does in fact have one prior suspension that we've told the court about. He's the sole provider of income for his entire family, including his sick wife and their 2 children. He's got to pay for college tuition. We think he's learned his lessons about driving with this suspension, but to continue to suspend him, certainly in this case, creates an undue hardship, and we'd ask that the court grant the petition.
Your Honor, the state would object to the granting of the petition. Mr. Halleck does have a previous OWI conviction. In addition, he is not enrolled in the drug and alcohol treatment program as required by the statute. Certainly has not completed it. Perhaps this would be more ripe for petition after he completes it, but as of now, he's not made steps to do so, so he's ineligible.
If the court pleases, Judge, we can make that a condition that he's enrolled.
Is a hardship license issued in Indiana good in other states?
I think it is.
I don't know the answer to that, Your Honor.
So he can be driving anytime and all, any time of day or night. We don't know what times or anything.
He drives such long distances, and sometimes he gets up late, sometimes he leaves an appointment and drives all night to get back home.
All right. Anything else?
Simply, Your Honor, that he's still not completed the rehabilitation program as required by both his plea agreement and
He met with probation, Judge, and there was a question whether he goes in Porter County or Lake County.
Where they enter into the plea?
Lake County. He's having difficulty getting here, though, because he's got to rely on his wife.
You're going to have to make that a condition that he's enrolled. You know,
Okay.
provide it with the order. All right. We'll grant it based on that condition that he enrolls. Provide proof of enrollment with the order and when he's going to be attending the program it is.
Very well, Judge. Thank you.
Okay? Stephen Whittinghill versus the prosecuting attorney of Lake County, Bernard Carter, 45 C01, 1307 MI 112. Good afternoon. Ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
What about here? Raise your right hand and be sworn. You solemnly swear affirm that all the truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor. State your full name for the record, sir.
Steve Neil Whittinghill,
And can you tell us your current address?
212 McAfee Drive, Hobart, Indiana.
Are your driving privileges currently suspended?
Yes.
And did you receive a notice from the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles notifying you your driving privileges were suspended?
Yes.
You have a pending case in Court of Superior Court Division 3. You've been accused of operating while intoxicated.
Yes.
That case hasn't been disposed of yet, has it?
No.
Have you ever been convicted or even had your driving privileges suspended in the past for an OWI?
No.
Now, are you currently employed?
Yes.
Where are you employed?
U.S. Steel.
How long did you work there?
Year and 3 months.
Do you need a vehicle to drive to and from work every day?
Yes.
And in this case, the Porter County case, when you were arrested, you were not working at the time for U.S. Steel, were you?
No.
And are you the sole source of income for your family and your household?
Yes.
And who else lives in the household with you?
My 20-month-old son.
And without your job, would you be able to support your family and maintain your household?
Absolutely not.
And as far as your petition is concerned, does it specifically describe the route you take to and from your employer?
Exactly.
At U.S. Steel, where are you going? What gate?
Buchanan.
And did you drive to and from your home in Hobart to the Buchanan Street gate each and every day?
Every day.
And your employment, does that include set hours, or do you work during different shifts for U.S. Steel?
Depends on the week. But it's swing shift.
You also work different days during the week.
Correct.
And currently, do you maintain only automobile insurance at this time?
Yes.
And at the time you were arrested for OWI in Porter County, did you have automobile insurance?
Yes.
Are you asking this court presently to grant you a restricted driver's permit to and from work?
Correct.
Also to and from any court-ordered programs, alcohol counseling,
Correct.
and emergencies?
Correct.
Are you involved in an employee assistance program at U.S. Steel right now for alcohol counseling?
Yeah, actually, my first day was today. I had to cancel because I had work.
And you're attending that as relative to your arrest for OWI in Porter County, is that correct?
Correct.
We ask the court to grant the petition, Your Honor. We have nothing further.
Cross-exam.
Mr. Whittinghill, your driving record indicates that you're suspended for an infraction also. Is that correct?
I didn't know I was suspended for infraction.
Did you have a valid license at the time of this OWI?
Yes.
You were not suspended at that time,
No.
but you have been suspended in the past?
When I was 16.
And this is a Porter County offense, correct?
Correct.
And you've not attended your alcohol classes, is that yet correct, as of yet?
Correct.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
But we would ask that you grant the petition. I don't think he has any similar suspensions, and I don't know what reference the state is making to an infraction. I think the only suspension I had a record of was back when he was 16 that had to do with school, non-driving related offense.
Your Honor, to clarify, I'm only referring to the official driving record that counsel included, and the license status as printed on there, it reads as suspended infraction. I know that he is currently suspended for the data master failure, I assume, and perhaps it is a typo since I don't see more infractions on there.
The school infraction that you're talking about. I think they...
Possibly, but that would have run already. However, the state does object to granting the license. This is improperly venued. It's a Porter County affair, and the petition for the hardship license should be venued in the in the courtroom where the suspension arises.
Statute also provides you can file a
Well, I don't
petition.
suspend licenses if they're all here.
Statute provides the county residence. I mean, you can file a petition in the county residence of the petition.
That's what the statute reads. I mean,
Your Honor, I was told that they were to be heard in the courtroom in which the suspension was arising from.
So they may be heard.
then I would never hear any of it.
No, I understand, Your Honor, I do. However, it is, in fact, an entirely different county that it arises in.
Where's his residence?
Hobart.
Well, I don't think there's an issue of jurisdiction here. I think I have the jurisdiction to grant the license. Okay. You could step down.
Thank you.
So the court's going to grant the petition. Do you have an order?
I have a proposed order, if I could approach, Your Honor.
Case is Jennifer Fogels versus Commissioner Motor Vehicles, 45 CO1, 13056 MI 89.
Afternoon, Judge.
Raise your right hand, be sworn. You solemnly swear affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge. Be seated.
State your name, please.
Jennifer Boone-Bogus,
Jennifer, what's your date of birth?
5/19/73,
And your current address?
825 Summit, Crown Point, Indiana.
And your license is currently suspended as a result of being a habitual traffic violator, is that correct?
Correct.
And your last conviction was in 2006, is that correct? You're currently employed?
Yes.
Where at?
William Walters Excavating,
And what do you do?
bookkeeping.
As part of your employment, is there any other driving besides from your home to your place of employment?
Yes, driving to different title companies to pick up checks, make deposits, come here to file intent to liens and liens on properties.
And what are your work hours?
Typically 7 to 3.
Does that ever vary?
Yes.
How has not having a license for the last 7 years affected you?
No, it's been very difficult.
Yeah. Do you have anyone to constantly give you rides to work?
Yes.
Is there times where you need to get to work and it's very difficult?
Yes, where times I've had to be later, I had to leave early, or I had to take off a day and have someone fill in.
Is it feasible for you to take a taxi, train, bus to work?
No.
Okay. As part of your last conviction, which was in Lake County in 2006, did you in fact complete an alcohol program?
Yes.
License ever previously been suspended?
No.
Nothing further.
Cross-examination.
Is it how do you
It's
pronounce
bogus.
it? Bogus it is, okay. Thank you. Ms. Bogus, you said your license has never been suspended before?
No,
It never has been? That's correct?
not to my knowledge, no, other than this time.
But this was not your first operating while intoxicated offense, is that correct?
Oh, well, no, I mean, it all kind of went on.
So it would have been suspended in 2004, correct?
Correct, okay,
And then again in 2005?
correct.
And then in 2007? And 2006? Is that correct?
Well, 6, yes. They all go, to me, it was all just one time, because I never got to get it back.
So you were driving on a suspended license when you picked up some of these OWIs, is that correct?
Correct.
How many OWIs have you had in total?
The 3.
And 2 of them are felonies, is that correct?
I guess so.
Did you plead guilty to a felony operating while intoxicated?
I believe so.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Berkman, anything else? Any other witness?
No, Judge.
You may step down. Anything?
Judge, just like to point out, the statute's pretty clear on a 10-year suspension. For an HTV, there's no violations, convictions within a 5-year period. You certainly do qualify for the restricted license I'm asking the court to grant.
Your Honor, it's the state's position that she does not qualify. She was driving on a suspended license when she picked up at least, I believe it's 2 of these operating while intoxicated offenses. She has pled guilty to a D felony, operating while intoxicated, as well as the HTV D felony. She doesn't qualify for those reasons. She's had 3 operating while intoxicated offenses, as well as the habitual traffic violator offense.
But if she's been suspended for 5 years, does the statute say that if you...
It says she's ineligible if she's had a prior license suspension, and she's had at least 3.
Judge, the statute's really clear and actually identifies with OWI. I mean, it's such a harsh outcome to be suspended for 10 years. I believe this is exactly what the statute's designed for. Someone who's 10 years...
She wasn't an HTV when she was suspended? I mean,
No.
wasn't driving while she was an HTV, was she?
That I don't know, Your Honor.
No.
I mean, these suspensions were prior.
Yeah. There's no convictions or charges that show up. Since 2006 would be the last conviction. That was operating while intoxicated out of Judge Cantrell's court. There's certainly nothing that disqualifies her. I believe there's a couple felonies that involve an accident with serious bodily injury. I think this is pretty straightforward, Judge.
Your Honor, my reading of it was that she was previously placed on probation multiple times for these OWIs, and that would be the disqualification, that this is nowhere near her first offense. Even though she's been suspended 5 years on the HTV, she's had the multiple prior suspensions before, and that's what disqualifies her.
Do you have a statute?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I'm sorry, Your Honor, if you could give me 1 second. If you'd like me to approach, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I have it in my binder.
I mean, wouldn't anybody who's an HTV who's been up 10 years have a prior suspension somewhere?
Absolutely. If it's a major traffic offense and you need 3 majors within a 10-year period, the statute's, very clear, and it's designed for this purpose. If you don't drive for 5 years, you can prove that there is a hardship, you qualify.
Okay. You has received an order for rescission of suspension and reinstatement issued. Person to whom the license is to be issued has never been convicted of a violation described in Section 4A of 17 of this chapter. What's that? 4A.
I believe that's the felony operating.
Judge, it just addresses OWI causing serious bodily injury, OWI causing death.
Has she been convicted of any of those?
No.
She was a D felon because she had a prior conviction?
Yes, and it's listed as a OWI, which pled guilty having a prior conviction within 5 years. Okay.
Okay, where does it address prior suspensions?
Is ineligible if they've been convicted of an offense under Section 16 more than once, and Section 16 is operating a motor vehicle while privileges are suspended. I do believe that those are what's doing that to look for OWIs.
I can have 1 second.
No.
Judge, just like to point out, these have been routinely granted. Certainly the DMV gets involved in these as of lately, objects to them, asks for a hearing. I think it's very clear she qualifies, and anyone, especially in this area, who works absolutely needs to drive. I think the hardship is we're certainly not in a city where you have the opportunity to find alternate means of transportation.
I understand it's a hardship, but the suspension, if she hasn't had a suspension in 5 years, why would they?
Well, she has been suspended for the past 5 years, Your Honor, but while she was suspended for different offenses, she continued driving, and I believe that's what makes her ineligible, is that repeated offense of driving while suspended, and not just driving while suspended, but operating while intoxicated.
Under 930-10-9, Section C is what we're asking for. It just states that she is a habitual traffic violator, has not been placed on probation under this section, by this court, meaning she hasn't been issued a hardship license before and violated it. License has been suspended for at least 5 years. Hasn't violated the terms of it by driving.
All right. I'm going to grant the petition. We'll let the state brief it and they object.
Judge, if I can approach the proposal.
Ma'am, I'm granting his petition reluctantly. I mean, your driving record's horrendous. I hope you learned your lesson, and
Oh, yes, definitely.
I don't read about it in the newspaper, and I'm the judge that gave you a...
No, you never will. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Where is it?
Sorry, Sam.
That one?
You know I'm right.
Thanks, Sharon.
You on there? Roberts, Your Honor. I'm sorry, Roberts.
Oh, that's the one that passed.
Yes, you gave us 30 additional days, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Short clause 77, Your Honor.
0077.
All right. Mark E. Roberts versus Bernard Carter, 45 1405 MI 77.
Can you take the stand, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Raise your right hand, be sworn. You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please be seated.
Go ahead. Thank you. Your Honor, we're filing this petition also for restricted license under 930-10-9. And we were here previous, and there was a little bit of confusion on my part regarding the statute, so I asked you for additional 30 days that you would kindly grant so that I can make sure that I filed in the proper statute. After doing some research, I believe I had filed, and I spoke to the deputy prosecutor regarding this matter, and I think we've reached coalescent state regarding the issues. And would you please state your name, sir?
Mark Rose,
Your address, sir?
12406 Patno Drive, St. John, Indiana.
Okay. And Mr. Roberts, where do you work?
Sterling Machine,
Where is that located, please?
Cedar Lake,
And are you full-time employee or part-time?
full-time.
Full-time employee. And you've been suspended for a number of years, is that correct?
Yes,
How long?
a little over 8 years.
Okay. Your last suspension was an habitual traffic violator. That was in 05, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you did complete a program which is attached to the document here that I filed with the court. It's an Exhibit 2, LATO's Lake County Alcohol and Drug Offender Service Program. You completed that program, is that correct, some years ago?
Yes,
And we have attached Exhibit 1, your driving record from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, which shows your last suspension being in 05. Now pursuant to 930-10-4A, which this matter was initially filed under 930-10-9, there are some exceptions under 1939. I want to make sure that none of these apply to you. Your suspension was not from a reckless homicide resulting from the operation of a motor vehicle, was it?
No.
And nor a voluntary or involuntary manslaughter resulting from the operation of a motor vehicle?
No.
Nor from any type of operation of a motor vehicle intoxicated while causing any type of death, is that correct?
Yes.
It was not. That's correct. It was not regarding those.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And you've not operated a vehicle since that period of time, right?
No.
Your suspension was not connected with your work, is that correct?
No.
Now you're asking the court to allow you to have a restricted license in order that you can go to work every day, is that correct?
That's correct.
And for the last number of years, you've had a relative drive you back and forth to work, is that correct?
That's correct.
They drive you in the morning, pick you up in the evening, bring you back to St. John.
Yes.
And you also would like to be able to visit your children. You have adult children, is that correct?
Yes.
And grandchildren?
Yes.
And you want to be able to visit them, is that correct?
Yes.
And they live in what town?
Highland?
And occasionally you would like to attend church with either your children or your grandchildren, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's where?
Highland.
Which church is that?
St. James?
And you've been asked to do small errands with your employer, go pick up parts or deliver occasionally?
Yes. Local runs, mostly at Cedar Lake.
Sure. And you've been unable to do that, is that correct?
Yes.
Because you had no license?
Yes.
Your Honor, I think we meet the requirements of the statute and the particular article and section under 930, and I think the exceptions would prohibit him under 930-10-4A. I think those particular ones do not apply to him, and I think that we're asking the court at this point to agree with us that he does meet the requirements for a restricted license at this time, Your Honor. And I believe covered most everything, and I would turn over to counsel, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Roberts, just making sure here. The 2005 OWI, were you on your way to or from work at that time?
No.
Are you sure? You looked a little hesitant.
I was trying to think exactly what I was doing.
How about the 2001 OWI, on your way to or from work or during working hours?
No.
And in 1997?
No.
And in 1980?
1980, I'm not sure what I was doing exactly.
Okay. But you did have an OWI in Lake County in 1980, that's correct?
Yes, and that was in Cedar Lake, but other than that, I don't remember any specifics.
Okay. Was your license suspended at the time any of these operating while intoxicated occurred?
No.
And did you complete a rehabilitation program after each one of them?
Yes.
The most recent one being the LATO certification that's attached to this, is that right?
And the MAD seminar and I forget what the other program was titled, to tell you the truth.
But those were all in 2005, is that
Yes.
correct? Do you have any ongoing treatment?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Rizal?
No, Your Honor, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Thank you.
Any arguments?
Well, Your Honor, I think that we and I have been working pretty hard on this one. These are very confusing, as Your Honor is aware, so many different sections. But I think on this particular one we have it right, and I think the Deputy Prosecutor, I believe, agrees with me. So we're asking to be granted, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the state would note only that the granting of this petition would be discretionary. He has had 4 OWIs. I assume the reckless driving conviction in 1997 was, in fact, an OWI that was knocked down to a reckless driving, but he has a terrible driving record. He is a danger.
He hasn't driven in 8 years?
No, I just got pulled over.
He indicates, the reckless driving, he was pulled over for improper driving, apparently, but not connected with anything else.
So it's 3 OWIs and a reckless driving then?
But yes, you're right, he hasn't driven in years, and I know the person personally who drives him each day, and he's a person of high integrity. When they say they've been driving him every day, they've been driving him every day, and it just is becoming exasperating for the family. He lives with his relatives, with his sister and brother-in-law, because he couldn't make it by himself, because living arrangement by himself would be more difficult for them to pick him up and drive him. So he lives with them, it's a bit of a burden to them in St. John. And I don't know if he intends to, if he gets a license issued, whether he would move out. I know that's why he stays with them. It's simpler for them to take him back and forth to work every day.
All right. You understand, sir, that I grant this petition to and from work, I don't know about church and medical matters and things of that nature. As far as visiting your children or whatever, they can come pick you up.
Okay.
Understand? So that's what I want the order to read. And to provide proof of insurance with the order.
Your Honor, I think, just real quick, you have spoken to an agent, is that correct?
I have insurance.
And he'll be given to him. We'll make sure that's with the order, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else?
I'll submit the order, Your Honor. I'll submit the policy for approval first and then to your order. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay.
That's my business. I'll send it to you.
No one else.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, let me see if somebody's on the other side of that.
That's a sister, Your Honor.
Okay.
For Esquivel, is that what you're looking for?
Huh?
Gilmore Esquivel?
Commute call. That's the state.
The one that we have, I have left,
Oh,
the one that, from the Attorney General's office.
yeah, I guess.
Remember that one you did?
Right, set for 2.
There's a motion to dismiss, set for 2:30.
Yeah.
Attorney Schuster failed to appear.
Let me go outside and make sure they know we're here. Are you here on that protective order?
Yes.
All right, just hold off. I'll make sure nobody's out here that does no call, that other attorney.
And when he calls, just don't know who appears. Make a record on grant the motion.
Yep.
All right, matter of Carl Kelly versus NA versus Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
That's that one to the Attorney General.
Wait a minute, I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, judicial review petition motion dismissed. Yeah, dismissed. Party said it's appear, but the state to let them know when he calls to submit an order.
I'll call her back, that's all.
No. Nobody appeared.
Nobody appeared?
Just submit an order.